This video is made possible by North Naperville Autos. If you're looking for a quality used car in the Chicagoland area, North Naperville Autos is here to help. Browse their inventory at northnapervilleautos.com and drive home in a new vehicle today.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2006 Mazda Mx-5. Up front is a 2.0 liter inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here NC Miata for a couple of reasons, but mainly the fact that this is the very first year for the NC Miata. And so we're going to be talking about what impression this little Miata left in the sports car community. Before we get on with the rest of the video, if you'd like to help out the channel, I have a website, zackpradel.com, where you can buy merch, you could submit your own vehicle for review, or check out my blog for some behind the scenes posts on what I'm filming that week. But let's get back to that 2.0 liter inline 4 under the hood. Well, it makes about 170 horsepower because it is the manual transmission. If you got the automatic NC Miata, like I reviewed last year, you actually got a couple horsepower less. So this is up at 170 horsepower, which is pretty nice, and that is a 30 horsepower jump over the previous generation. And also at the time, this was the largest engine ever put into a Miata at 2 liters. Previously, the very first Miata was a 1.6, and they later added the 1.8 to the first generation. The whole second generation here in the States was a 1.8 as well, and now they jumped up to a 2.0, and since then they've stuck with that displacement. Now this engine is an MZR engine, which was a group project from Mazda and Ford at the time. We're going to be talking a lot about the Mazda Ford connection a little bit later on. And so this was used by a lot of Ford products as well as a bunch of Mazda products. Like I said, paired to its 6-speed manual transmission, feels fantastic, really notchy, slides right into gear, very, very satisfying. However, that is because it is a Grand Touring NC Miata. For 2006, the base model and the Sport came with 5-speed manual transmissions, where this actually comes with a 6-speed. Last but not least, of course, the NC Miata is rear-wheel drive, like all Miatas should be. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a cluster of gauges. On the left, I have my fuel, then I have my tachometer. In the center, I have oil pressure, and on the right, I have my speedometer and coolant temperature, as well as I get a digital odometer down in the very center. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my mute mode, volume, and skip track buttons, and on the right, I do have my cruise control settings. Very nice for a Miata. I like the overall look of the steering wheel. I like the Mazda badge in the center, and it feels nice in my hands. Off to the left, I do have traction control off and my passenger airbag switch on and off. And then on the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and my cup holder, which is very, very interesting. And we'll do a whole big freaking bottle test a little bit later on, but I'm sorry, don't get your hopes up. Moving into the center, I have 2 climate control vents and a hazard switch in the very center. Then I have the radio itself. This is a Bose sound system for the Grand Touring. Mazda and Bose have had a very, very long relationship going all the way back to the FD RX-7 of the early 90s. So pretty standard there, and they still use Bose to this day. You can get a 2022 Mazda 3 hatchback with Bose. Then I have the climate controls, again, very, very basic. Where to send it, temperature, and fan speed. However, with where to send it, this is called open mode. So this is for when the top is down and will actually help out a little bit more for delivering that heat if you're driving with the top down on a cold night. Then I have a 12-volt outlet, a little coin holder thing, and then we have the shifter itself. Like I said, the shifter feels great, very, very notchy, and one of the main redeeming qualities of an NC Miata is that shifting feel, which is just spectacular. Off to the right, I have my handbrake, and then we have the power windows found in the center and not on the doors, traditional for Miatas. And then we have more cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the NC Miata. And just as I suspected, it fails not only in the center, but there was no chance of it even passing on the door as well. This is a small car, not meant for big bottles. Then I do have some extra storage behind me, which is very nice because small car like this, you don't get too much storage. The seats are very comfortable. I've always pleasantly enjoyed these seats. They're nothing spectacular. They're not super sporty, but if you really want a sporty seat, you can swap that out yourself if you'd like to. Since we don't have back seats, let's go hop around back and take a look at the cargo space. All right, so we're on the back of the NC Miata from 2006, and first of all, this is the key. The key is very interesting. It's like a business card. Now, there would be something here for the spare extra key, but this car unfortunately is missing that. I do have a trunk release button, which is why I'm showing this to you, and it just pops it up a little bit like that. And then once we're in the back, not a whole ton of space, but for a little two-door roadster, it has an okay amount of trunk room. I wouldn't go on a 7-week vacation with this amount of space, but a little weekend getaway, maybe a golf bag with the driver removed, maybe that'll fit back here as well. I've gone on plenty of weekend trips in my old Miata, seen here. That is up in Door County, Wisconsin, so I think you're going to be fine when it comes to trunk space, but just don't expect the world. And now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is going to start to tie into my final thoughts on the NC Miata from the very first year. First of all, I don't really love the look of the NC Miata. I think it's a little too bubbly. I think it's a little too bland for me. It sort of has these big wheel arches and not that big of wheels to fill those arches, and it just, I don't know, it looks a little off. Real quickly with the exterior before we get on to my final thoughts, let's talk about the convertible top. This is just a regular soft top that is manual. However, in later years, you actually could find them with a power folding top, like this one I reviewed last December, and I'll leave that video at the end if you'd like to see that full power top operation and a review on that vehicle as well. And so let's get to my final thoughts here. Why did I put hate in the title? Why do people hate this generation of Miata? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, it shares almost nothing with the previous NB Miata chassis besides some differential internals, and overseas the guts of the turn signals are the same, but besides that, this shares nothing with the NB. So everything that everyone has come to know and love about the Miata has been changed. And the second reason, speaking of those looks, is that this was designed by Maury Cullum, a British Ford designer. He was responsible for the redesign of the 2000 Ford Taurus, the Ford Windstar minivan, Mercury Villager, and Ford Super Duty trucks. He was then transferred over to Mazda to work on this MX-5, as well as the Mazda 5 minivan, the CX-7 and the CX-9 of that generation. He later went back to Ford to design the 2011 Ford Explorer, Lincoln MKZ, 2013 Ford Fusion, which I just drove actually, and the Ford EcoSport. My point being is that this was designed by Ford. This was a Ford designer, a British Ford designer. And so that's why this looks more at home parked next to a Ford than it does a Mazda. This seems like the alien generation. It has that collaboration Ford-Mazda engine. I know it was mostly Mazda that did the homework, but Ford's name was slapped on it too. Yes, this is really a shortened Mazda RX-8 platform. Speaking of which, the suspension was changed from a 4-wheel double wishbone to a front wishbone rear multi-link setup. Again, change. And as long as we're talking about the dimensions, the NC gained 100 pounds over the outgoing NB, and it got 2 inches longer and 1.6 inches wider. And this was actually a problem in Japan because of these size changes. This car no longer fit in the mid-size vehicle tax class, and so if you bought one in Japan, you had to pay more in tax than you would in NB because it is slightly larger. And to top it all off, they added traction and stability control for 2006, which are nice features for everyday use, but they're not very Miata-ly. All of this change, all of this difference made this car not feel like the other Miatas on paper. And that's the interesting thing about the NC Miata. I hate it when I'm not driving it. I hate it, 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 I hate it. Gosh, I love the NC Miata. Because that's the thing. Anyone that says that they hate the NC Miata doesn't drive one or own one. When you drive it, all of those worries, all of that Ford design and weight gain and Advil pill-shaped headlights goes to the wayside, and what you're left with is a 170 horsepower roadster with a fantastic feeling transmission, adequate features, and a very pleasurable driving experience. behind the wheel of the NC is the best place you can ever be. There are some cars where the best place you could be is about 5 to 10 feet away, staring at its front end. That's its strong point, is its styling. That's not the strong point of the NC. You really get to learn how great the NC is by mashing the third pedal to the left and dumping it down a gear. That is where the NC really flies. And so no, it might not be the best Miata ever built, but it's still a Miata. Even the worst Miata on the worst day is a better driving machine than 99% of other vehicles. And I will stand by that every day of the week. Everybody hates the NC, but you really shouldn't. And if you really want to see what I'm on about, get out there and drive one. I think your opinion might be changed. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me take out their NC Miata. This is one of their used vehicles. They have tons of really cool and unique inventory. This one only has 87,000 miles on it. So if you're looking for a great NC to build or just enjoy, this is it. And please contact North Naperville Autos. They offer countrywide shipping in the US, as well as they are Carfax certified, and they offer financing. So there's no real reason why you shouldn't go to them. They are absolutely awesome, and I can't thank them enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.